After 40 years of marriage, when my husband eloped with his widowed sister-in-law, they got into a car accident. Before dying, he held my hand, his face filled with unwillingness. Zia Lin, you must bury me together with Isla Lee. In my next life, I want to be her husband and wife, I asked through tears. Jae-soo, do you really love her that much? He nodded, responding in a faint voice. Love, my love for her, is as enduring as the sea drying up and rocks crumbling, steadfast as a boulder. If there is an afterlife, I wish to be with her. One life, one love, one pair. He loved his widowed sister-in-law. Then what does all my devotion over these many years amount to? The feeling of betrayal made me tremble all over. Wiping away my tears, I sneered and agreed to his request. Jae-soo, you can rest assured and die. If there's a next life, I'll make sure both of you get what you wish for. When I opened my eyes again, it was the moment Jae-soo brought his sister-in-law Isla Lee home. Seeing me standing there dumbfounded, Jae-lee raised his voice impatiently. Zia Lin, are you deaf? With our eldest brother gone, it's not easy for sister-in-law to raise the child alone. I've brought them back to live with us. Clean up the main house for sister-in-law and Nyo-Nyo to stay in. Also, sister-in-law is not in good health, and Nyo-Nyo is growing, so make sure each of them gets an egg every day. In my previous life, I refused Jae-soo's request. Because I knew that sister-in-law Isla Lee was originally Jae-soo's girlfriend, it was just an accident. But brother Jae-soo was seriously injured. To bring good fortune to brother, the Yu family forcibly remarried Isla Lee to the eldest brother. Fully aware of this relationship and fearing that Jae-soo and Isla Lee might rekindle their past, I decisively refused. At the time, I told Jae-soo, it's not easy for my sister-in-law to raise the child alone. We can help her with the spring planting and autumn harvest. We could also give her food and cloth ration coupons to ease her worries. It might not be appropriate to take her into our home. She'll likely remarry in the future. Villagers love to gossip. If rumors spread, it won't sound good no matter how you explain it. Isla Lee burst into loud sobs, turned around with her child, and ran away. The Yu family won't tolerate us mother and child anymore. Might as well just die. Coincidentally, a startled ox from the production team charged over and collided with the mother and child. The child died on the spot. Isla Lee was severely injured. People from the production team and the commune came to discuss compensation matters. Since I worked at the supply and marketing cooperative and knew many people, I shamelessly pleaded with the commune leaders to provide more compensation. In the end, Isla Lee received a large sum of compensation money after the dead child was buried. Isla Lee took the huge sum of money and left, never to return. After this incident, Jae-soo and I had a cold war for some time. Neither of us said anything, but we both knew. The death of the nephew and Isla Lee's departure became a thorn in each other's hearts. After the reform and opening up, the supply and marketing cooperatives went out of business. I took over the supply and marketing cooperative and opened a supermarket. The business grew bigger and bigger, and the money kept rolling in. Jae-soo made up with me again. I felt guilty. I always feel that my nephew's death and Isla Lee's departure are related to what I said that day. So, I grant Jae-soo whatever he asks for. When motorcycles first became popular, I bought one for Jae-soo. When mobile phones first became trendy, I got one for Jae-soo. When cars became popular among the common people, I was the first to buy him one. Jae-soo became the most fashionably dressed man in all the surrounding villages. I thought we could support each other until old age. To be buried together after death would have been a perfect ending to our lives. Little did I know, at the age of 60, he actually eloped with Isla Lee. That day, I organized a birthday party for him and booked a hotel. He was late and didn't show up. I called him, but he didn't answer. Later, he sent me a text message saying, Zia Lin, you're a boring and materialistic woman. All these years of marriage, being with you has exhausted me. I want to be with Isla Lee. Right now, I'm taking her on a trip abroad. We'll get divorced as soon as we return. My hands were shaking with anger, my whole body trembling. If he wanted to be with Isla Lee, he could have told me. I'm not the type to cling desperately. It's the 21st century. Society is open-minded, and divorce is nothing to be ashamed of. Instead of telling me, he chose the disgraceful act of eloping. What a 60-year-old does can't even compare to a 3-year-old child. All those books they've read went straight to the dogs. He went abroad to live it up, leaving me alone to endure the guests' probing stares. The guests noticed my pale face and asked if I was feeling unwell. I smiled and said, "Just a bit tired. I'll be fine after resting a while," to save face for Jae-soo. I even explained to everyone that he had something to do and would be arriving a bit later. I tried to calm myself down. Meanwhile, in my heart, I cursed Jae-soo and his ancestors 18 generations over and over. Just then, my phone rang. The traffic police called. Jae-soo was in a car accident. Zia Lin, are you stupid or deaf? Jae-soo shoved me hard. I'm talking to you, can't you hear me? Isla Lee looked at me, then glanced at Jae-soo, wiping away her tears. Jace, Zia Lin doesn't want me here. Maybe I should leave. I'd feel guilty if I caused any rift between you two because of me. As she spoke, her tears began to fall uncontrollably. Poor my Nyo-Nyo, so young and already without a father, not even a home left. Jae-soo's nephew Nyo-Nyo raised his head, glaring at me fiercely, like a young bull. He charged at me. This is the home of me and my uncle. We're both surnamed you. You're an outsider. Get out of here. I looked at Isla Lee in astonishment. If she didn't teach them these words, I'd never believe it. A child of a few years old couldn't say such words. While I was distracted, Nyo-Nyo bumped into me again, caught off guard. I landed squarely on my bottom. The pain jolted me back to awareness. I've been reborn. I was reborn in the 1980s. The events of my past life flashed before my eyes like a movie. I sprang up from the ground like a carp leaping out of water. I snatched the military green duffel bag from Jae-soo's hands. He snatched the red double happiness wash basin from Isla Lee's hands again. Then he took Nyo-Nyo's hand, beaming at the three of them with a grin so wide his eyes disappeared. Quick, quick, come inside. What's with the formality among family? This is your home after all. My excessive enthusiasm left Jae-soo stunned. Isla Lee grew even more nervous. She ducked her head and hid behind Jae-soo. Only Nyo-Nyo jumped excitedly with joy. He kicked off his tattered cloth shoes and climbed onto the kang to roll around playfully. Jae-soo froze for a few seconds before snapping back to reality. He wanted to reach out and touch my forehead. Zia Lin, do you have a fever? Before his hand could reach my forehead, Isla Lee shouted from over there. Ouch, I twisted my ankle. Jace, help me up quickly. Jae-soo immediately let go of me and turned to support Isla Lee. I sneered inwardly. Isla Lee's innocent act always works on Jae-soo. Seeing the corner of my lips curl up, Jae-soo's hand supporting Isla Lee paused for a moment. His voice softened as he spoke. Zia Lin, I want to let sister-in-law and Nyo-Nyo live in the main house. Also, after elder brother passed away, sister-in-law's health hasn't been good, and Nyo-Nyo is still growing. You should make sure they each get one egg every morning when you cook. I interrupted Jae-soo. There's only one old hen at home, and it lays an egg every 2 days. I can't go digging eggs out of the hen's rear end every day either. Isla Lee, who came from a wealthy peasant family, covered her lips. She giggled. Just like Jae-soo, she always looks down on my crude speech and behavior. As a rural woman with only an elementary school education, I can't master that refined way of speaking. Jae-soo is an elementary school teacher. Isla Lee was born into a wealthy peasant family and completed junior high school. However, later on, the wealthy peasants were overthrown, and the Lee family fell into decline. The Yu family was so poor that even mice would shed tears upon visiting. Despite their poverty, their status as poor and lower-middle peasants was particularly advantageous. When children at home look for partners, they all prefer those from poor or lower-middle peasant backgrounds, while looking down upon those from rich peasant or capitalist families. Isla Lee took a liking to Jae-soo and actively pursued him precisely because she admired his poor peasant background and respectable job. Jae-soo is someone who judges people by their appearance. He was drawn to Isla Lee's delicate, gentle, and fragile demeanor. Both are cultured individuals, with endless ideals and aspirations to discuss. From poetry to song lyrics, with mutual affection, they hit it off immediately. Watching them, I couldn't help but sigh. The wheel of fate has granted me rebirth, and in this life, I must ensure the two of them end up together. A lifetime is such a long time. I'm curious to see what kind of life those two will make together, without my financial support. Could Jae-soo live in a high-rise and drive luxury cars? Without me leveraging my connections, could he have gone from a private school teacher to becoming a principal? I really want to see how things end between the two of them. I kept spacing out, which made Isla Lee overthink things. She started her White Lotus act again. Zia Lin, do you regret it now? It's not too late to change your mind. Just say the word, and I'll leave right away. I grabbed her and smiled, wrapping my arm around her shoulder. Sister-in-law, you can't leave. If she leaves, I won't get to enjoy the show. I pushed Isla Lee into the main room and laid out her bedding. He rolled up his own bedding and carried it away. Jasu shouted, "Take mine too." I yelled back at him, "Go sleep with your sister-in-law." Jasu chased after me and grabbed my arm. His face flushed red as he scolded, "What nonsense are you talking, Zia Lin? It's bad enough that you're uncultured, but you also use vulgar language and have filthy thoughts. How shameless of you to say that. Who was it that disrespected their elders, running off with their widowed sister-in-law right after retirement? Even heaven couldn't bear to witness their disgraceful affair, sending a car accident to claim both their lives." I shook off his filthy hand. "Jasu, I only graduated from elementary school, as you well know. Do you regret it? If you do, we can always get a divorce. And another thing, your refined tastes and literary pursuits don't cut it in the countryside. Even if you told the cows, they wouldn't understand. Tell the horses, and they'd just kick up their heels. Right now, the main task of living is to fill my stomach." Jasu stood there in shock, somewhat at a loss. I had never been so sharp-tongued before. I quickly calmed my emotions and teased him in a normal tone. "Jasu, with Buddha in your heart, your thoughts turn to Buddha. With demons in your heart, your thoughts turn to demons. If you harbor no filthy thoughts, you wouldn't think of filth. The elder sister-in-law is like a mother, the younger brother-in-law is like a son. Do you understand? It's only natural for you to live in the same room with your sister-in-law and help her take care of Nyonyo, isn't it? Didn't you see the cloth curtain I hung in the middle of the kang? Or do you think it would be more appropriate for me to build a wall in the middle of the kang?" Clearly a grown man, yet acting all hypocritical and petty, not even as decent as a woman, I blurted out like popping beans, then grabbed my bedding roll and left. Seeing I didn't go to the side room but instead walked out the main gate, Jasu chased after me again. "Zia Lin, where are you going?" I didn't look back. "I'm going to stay at eldest brother's house. Sister-in-law said she's afraid to live alone after eldest brother died." "I'm not scared." Jasu stopped me, sounding helpless. "Are you angry?" "I didn't mean anything by it. If I offended you with my words, I apologize." "You're not wrong. I was the one at fault. My eyes were smeared with dog shit, and I misjudged the person, in my past life. To make it up to him, I treaded carefully and endured endless humiliation. Now that I've been reborn, I need to cut my losses in time. It's not too late to walk away now." Pushing Jasu aside, I went to my elder brother's house. The heated kang warmed up, and after washing my face and feet, I finally settled down with a calm heart. As I snuggled into the quilt, in the silent night, I began to sort through the events that had happened in both lifetimes. The top priority now is to divorce Jasu. However, getting a divorce isn't easy. It's 1980 now, although the reform and opening up have begun. The social customs here are still quite conservative. If I rashly bring up divorce, my parents would be the first to object, having lived 2 lifetimes. I'm not afraid of people's gossip. What I fear most is my mother's emotional blackmail with tears, tantrums, and threats of suicide. The older generation held the traditional belief of being faithful to one unto death. Even when subjected to domestic violence by their husbands or mistreated by their mothers-in-law, they gritted their teeth and endured, choosing to hang themselves on the same tree for a lifetime. My marriage to Jasu was arranged by our parents when we were still children. My father once said that after marriage, I would no longer bear the Lin surname. In life, I am a member of the Yu family. In death, I will be a ghost of the Yu family. The feudal beliefs of the older generation run deep. Before my rebirth, I, too, clung to the notion of being faithful to one to the end. In my past life, after we became wealthy, Jasu would often stay away from home for days on end. He always claimed to be on duty at school, and I took his words at face value, until he eloped with Isla Lee and I pieced together the previous clues. I was certain that Jasu and Isla Lee had been secretly involved behind my back. In my past life, the resentment and curses of Jasu still echoed in my ears as I lay dying. In this life, I would rather become a nun in a temple than be his wife. I must seize Jasu's weakness, make him willingly agree to divorce, and also turn the neighborhood's public opinion in my favor. More importantly, let my parents see Jasu's true colors. The next day, I got up early to go home and cook. Neither Jasu nor Isla Lee had gotten up yet. I banged on the door loudly, and only then did they rub their sleepy eyes and crawl out of bed. I scooped 2 bowls of cornmeal and pulled up a few green onions, planning to make a pot of dough drop soup. I directed Jasu to help me tend the fire, deliberately acting intimate by whispering into his ear. Isla Lee, washing her face inside the room, kept sneaking glances into the kitchen from time to time. Seeing us so intimate and whispering to each other, she angrily threw down her towel. During the meal, I studied Jasu's face and even pinched his arm, saying with concern, "Since your elder brother passed away, you've worked yourself thin. Tomorrow I'll buy eggs to make egg water for you." Seeing me unusually gentle, Jasu nodded repeatedly. "The supply and marketing cooperative is busy too. You should also take care of your health." I moved, resting my head on Jasu's shoulder. "Jace, you're the only one in this world who treats me the best. You're the one who truly cares for me." Isla Lee stood nearby, slightly lowering her head, her complexion shifting from pale to red, then from red to ashen. Her fingers tightly gripped the chopsticks. She slammed the chopsticks onto the dining table and said, "I'm full." She stepped off the kang, shuffled her shoes on, and went out. Acting is exhausting. Pretending makes me sick. Luckily, Isla Lee had a breakdown. She left, and I stopped pretending too. After the meal, I got up and left immediately, pushing a cart. I went through streets and alleys collecting mountain goods and herbs to sell in the city. In my previous life, after I contracted the supply and marketing cooperative, I managed the daily operations while also working as an agricultural product broker. Men can't be relied on, so it's even more important to focus on my career. Given the chance to be reborn and with the advantage of foresight, I'm determined to start my career early. After a busy day, I secretly returned home in the evening and crouched under the window at the back of the house to eavesdrop. In the morning, my intimate scene with Jasu provoked Isla Lee. By evening, she was bound to take action. Sure enough, under the moonlight, Isla Lee lifted the curtain, slipped into Jasu's bed, and clung to the scoundrel, sobbing softly. Jasu comforted her in a hushed voice, holding each other tightly. The two of them rolled into one. I quickly ran back to my parents' home and woke up my mom and dad. Then I called the village party secretary. The village party secretary, still drowsy, asked unhappily, "You little brat, what kind of mischief are you up to in the middle of the night?" "Not letting anyone sleep, Uncle Yang. There's a man in my house. I'm afraid some bad guy might be harassing my sister-in-law. They all live very close to my house, just a 3 to 5 minute walk away. With that passionate couple being like dry wood meeting a fierce fire, it shouldn't have ended so quickly." I had already confided in my dad beforehand, so he was the first to jump in. Right after, the brigade secretary also climbed through the window frame and jumped into the room. He pulled the light cord by the kang, and the bulb on the ceiling lit up. Under the dim yellow light, Isla Lee was straddling Jasu. Both were naked, their eyes dazed, their bodies dripping with sweat. A sight too indecent to behold. I grabbed the feather duster and fiercely lashed out at the shameless couple. Between strikes, I sobbed loudly, "You two are too cruel, an uncle and his sister-in-law getting together. This is the crime of hooliganism." Jasu flipped Isla Lee over in one swift motion. He hastily pulled on his pants, jumped off the kang, and knelt on the ground. "Zia Lin, I was half asleep and mistook Isla Lee for you. Please, spare me." "Damn it." He lied without batting an eye and even dragged me into it. I slapped his face, then his shoulders, putting more force into it. The crying grew louder too. Without tears, I just wailed dryly, trying to stir up all the neighbors. Jasu cried so hard that snot ran down his face. "Please show mercy. I can't afford to lose my job." Isla Lee also hastily put on her vest and knelt on the ground, trembling uncontrollably. The brigade secretary grabbed the scoundrel by the ear and scolded, "I watched you grow up, and look at you. So disappointing, doing such shameful things. If this gets out, how could you ever hold your head up in public again?" I cried my heart out, and the feather duster never stopped. The cheating couple dodged left and right, forced to shield their heads with their hands. The brigade secretary pulled me aside. "Stop now, what do you want to do about this?" I shouted loudly. "They're having an affair, shitting on my head. I want a divorce." The next day, I went to the brigade secretary to get a referral letter and smoothly got the divorce. I moved back to my parents' home. When she saw the divorce certificate, my mother kept wiping her tears, sighing and moaning. I was wrong about Jasu back then. A brother-in-law getting involved with his sister-in-law. How shameless can he be? He's trampling our Lin family's reputation underfoot. My father scolded me. You little schemer, even plotting against me, more tricks up your sleeve than holes in a beehive. Be careful, Jace, you might realize it later and come after you. I acted coquettishly with him, I'm not afraid, after all. Catching them in the act is the truth. There are no parents in the world who can outlast their children's persistence. They find it hard to accept for now, but they will surely understand in the future, however. They still feel very disappointed. They believe that a woman who remarries will face many difficulties in the future. I comforted them by saying, "Don't worry, the best days for our family are yet to come. That shameless couple might not last till old age. In my past life, I was the one who took care of all the household chores and social obligations. Jace looked down on me for being uneducated and too worldly, yet he still enjoyed my meticulous care in every detail. Isla Lee comes from a wealthy farming family. Apart from poetry and literature, she can't lift a finger or carry a load. I don't believe they can make a good life together." Sure enough, my words turned out to be prophetic. Not even half a month later, Nyo came running to my house. "Auntie, help, my dad beat my mom to death. A human life is at stake." Without a second thought, I rushed to the Yu family's house. Isla Lee's hair was disheveled, her face smeared with both blood and soot from the bottom of a pot. Jace eyes were bloodshot. When he saw me arrive, he pointed at a pile of chicken feathers on the ground, his heart aching with distress. "There's only one old hen at home, kept for laying eggs, yet she killed it to make stew." Jace was hopping mad, as if Isla Lee hadn't slaughtered a chicken but his own parents. "I have a raw egg mixed in water every morning to nourish myself. Now I won't have that anymore." I looked at the steaming iron pot. The chicken is already cooked. I feel a sense of relief in my heart. It's all because of the bad temper I've allowed Jace to develop. Worried about his health, every morning I would beat an egg for him, pour hot water over it, and add some sugar. I couldn't bear to eat it myself. Saving all the good food for him. Now, the hen that laid eggs has been stewed, and his future private meals are gone. I shifted my gaze from the stewed chicken to Isla Lee. Her eyes were so swollen they were barely slits, and she was half collapsed on the ground. She had just been crying, tears still streaking her face. Hearing me arrive, she staggered to her feet. Feeling humiliated, she yelled at me, "Zia Lin, I don't need you to laugh at me. Get out, what a mad dog, biting anyone in sight. Who wants to meddle in your family mess?" If it weren't for Nyo crying and begging me to come, even if you knelt and pleaded, I wouldn't be here. I turned around and left. "Zia Lin, don't think I don't know. You're still hung up on Jace. Let me tell you, Jace is married to me now. If you dare try to seduce him again, I'll break your legs." Damn it, I let her have the dog shit, and even if she treats it like treasure, fine, but to actually insult me for still thinking about the dog shit. I won't indulge her either. You'd eat your own shit, but I won't. What you treasure is what I found too filthy to keep. If it weren't for Nyo fearing you'd get beaten to death, I wouldn't be here. A dog biting Lu Dongbin. Utterly ungrateful. To make her completely give up, I deliberately revealed the truth to provoke her. That night when we caught them cheating, it was all my plan. I just wanted to divorce Jace. Isla Lee was so furious she trembled all over, pointing at me and cursing. How vulgar. No wonder my Jace doesn't want you. Jace has always loved me. If he didn't, your schemes wouldn't work. Seeing us argue, Jace stepped forward to push me away. "Zia Lin, please don't come to my house anymore. My relationship with Isla Lee is none of your business." I raised my hand and slapped him. That slap was delivered with all my strength, sending Jace staggering back a few steps. "Jace, don't you dare touch me. Today I was the fool. Remember this. Next time you could be dying in the street and I wouldn't lift a finger." The grievances and betrayals from my past life flooded back into my mind. Summoning all my strength, I raised my hand and slapped him hard on the other side. Jace let out a howl, covering his face as blood seeped through his fingers. Isla Lee stood up and shouted at me, "You dare hit my man? Who gave you the nerve?" I stood still, glaring at her with a cold face. "Do you want to taste a slap too, damn couple?" I've been wanting to hit them for a long time. I rolled up my sleeves and waved at them. "How about, you two come at me together?" Their expressions changed, and they both stepped back. They also knew I was in good physical shape. Two of them wouldn't be a match for me alone. I can carry 100-pound sack all by myself. I can also walk from home to the county town with 50 pounds of wild jujube kernels on my back to sell them, making a 60-mile round trip in a single day. Jace used to mock me more than once. saying I was as strong as an ox, just like a man, with not a trace of femininity about me. Little did he know, the comfortable life he enjoyed was bought with my health. After turning 50, my body started developing various ailments frequently. I knew it was due to the exhaustion from my younger years. When I was hospitalized, Jesu not only failed to take care of me but also used school duty as an excuse to avoid coming home. It was only later that I found out he didn't have time to care for me because he was fooling around with Isla Lee. Fortunately, in this life, I cut my losses in time and ditched the scumbag. The cheating couple was intimidated by my powerful aura. I glared at them fiercely and warned, from now on, steer clear of me when you see me, otherwise, I'll beat you up every time I see you. I walked out of the Yu family's house. Jesu, for some crazy reason, actually chased after me. Zia Lin, wait up. I have something to say. Jesu, get lost. Come any closer and I'll gouge your eyes out. Believe me. I pointed at Jesu's nose. Are you an animal? Didn't you understand what I just said? Jesu chased after me, and Isla Lee got jealous again, her voice trembling with tears. Jesu, come back here. You're my man. Why do you keep pestering Zia Lin? Are you still trying to hit on her? Isla Lee screamed at the top of her lungs, ran forward, and grabbed Jesu. Jesu shook her off. I have something to ask Zia Lin. No, Isla Lee grabbed Jesu's arm. You're my man. You can't keep lingering ties with her. I kept walking forward. Jesu breaks free from Isla Lee. Isla Lee chases after him, crying and shouting. Nyo sees both his dad and mom running out, so he chases after them too. While running, he keeps shouting, "Mom, wait for me." The moment Nyo ran out, a frenzied old yellow ox charged towards him. The hard ox horns lifted the child wearing a red vest. The old yellow ox let out an ear-splitting bellow, tossing Nyo high into the air before slamming him down violently. Blood was spilled all over the ground. Seemingly startled, the old bull raised its hard horns again and charged at Isla Lee. Jesu shouted loudly, seeing him. The bull snapped back to attention and lunged at Jesu. Jesu's face turned pale as he shouted and ran towards me. Zia Lin, save me. Damn it, you're trying to get me killed. With quick reflexes, I grabbed hold of a large poplar tree nearby and swiftly climbed up it. The old cow rammed into the tree trunk and died on the spot. I patted my chest, feeling a wave of lingering fear. Thankfully, I was in good physical shape and climbed to the treetop in just a few moves. Had it been someone else, they would surely have been gored to death by the cow's horns. Isla Lee hugged Nyo and burst into tears. The production team sent a horse-drawn cart to take the child to the county hospital. Jesu hesitated. He wanted to get on the cart but didn't want to go. Isla Lee called out to him. He patted his trouser pocket with a troubled expression. I don't have any money. Both of them turned to look at me. Isla Lee cried out again, calling to me, Zia Lin, I know you have money. Please help us. Looking at the child whose bleeding wouldn't stop, my heart softened. To be honest, I have no feelings for Nyo. This child has been corrupted by Isla Lee's upbringing. Last time, when he knocked me to the ground, I still remember every word he said. Looking at the blooded child, I couldn't bring myself to refuse. After hesitating for a moment, I ran home to get some money. The carriage went first. I went home to get some money, then ran to the production team to borrow a horse. Riding a horse is faster than taking a carriage. We arrived at the hospital almost at the same time. In the hospital, Jesu was arguing with Isla Lee. The doctor said the chances are slim. Do you still want to save him, borrowing money for treatment, only for the person not to make it, ending up with nothing? What would you do? You don't have a job, and my salary is meager. How are we going to repay the debt? Isla Lee cried, as if steeling herself with great resolve. The child is yours. Are you going to save it or not? Jesu froze. I was even more shocked. Jesu noticed me and hurried over. I handed him the money and turned to leave. In my previous life, I always thought Nyo was the child of my elder brother and Isla Lee. Little did I know, it was actually the result of Isla Lee's affair with Jesu. The feeling of betrayal made me tremble inside. Then, I comforted myself. At least I wasn't deceived for a lifetime. A few days later, Jesu and his wife returned. Nyo died. What a complete mess. After Nyo's death, the relationship between Jesu and his wife grew even more distant. Frequent arguments between them could often be heard. Jesu would scold Isla Lee for being clumsy, unable to cook, and incapable of earning money. Isla Lee would berate Jae-soo for being incompetent and earning too little. Poverty is the mother of all sorrows for a couple. In their past life, Jae-soo had everything he wanted, all provided by me. Now, he's experiencing what it's like to live without money. That day, it was said the two fought again. Isla Lee had period cramps and wanted to drink brown sugar water. Jae-soo couldn't afford to buy it, leading to an argument between the two that escalated into a physical fight. Isla Lee hit Jae-soo's head with a hammer. Jae-soo passed out. Hearing the news of their fight, I just smiled, feeling thoroughly satisfied. Every villain meets his match. In my previous life, I was too good to Jae-soo. And he didn't know how to cherish it. Now that he's with the one he loves most, let them torment each other. They finally realize that love and refined tastes are worthless in the face of basic survival needs. I continued to purchase mountain products and medicinal herbs. I would go home to sort and weigh them, then transport them to the city for sale. With the experience from my past life, I knew which herbs were valuable and where to sell them for the best price. Less than a month after divorcing Jae-soo, I used the money I earned to buy a carriage. The carriage could haul more goods. I loaded it with a full shipment to deliver to the city. Seeing how high-spirited I was, completely unaffected by the divorce, my parents finally felt at ease. Heading into the city always meant an early start, setting off at 2 in the morning. My dad, worried about me being a young girl traveling alone, would ride along in the cart with me. As the horse-drawn cart passed through the woods and was about to turn onto the main road, a figure suddenly dashed out. The old horse reared up, neighing loudly twice. Luckily, my dad was an experienced hand. He quickly grabbed the reins and calmed the old horse down. I thought I had encountered a robber, so I grabbed a machete, jumped out of the car, and prepared for a fight, but the person raised his hands first and shouted loudly, "Zia Lin, it's me, Jae-soo, damn it. People can scare people to death. Doesn't this jerk know that?" Anger surged uncontrollably, and I raised the machete. Jae-soo turned pale with fright. Just as the machete was about to strike his shoulder, I switched to the blunt side. Even with the blunt side, the sound of cracking bones could be heard as it landed on his shoulder. Jae-soo had no time to dodge and immediately dropped to his knees, howling in pain, yet he wasn't angry. Instead, he called out to me with a laugh, "Zia Lin, I'm off today. I'll go sell herbs in the city with you. Sell your sister. Get lost. You're too dirty. I'm afraid you'll soil my whole truckload of goods." I got back into the truck. My dad raised his whip and accidentally lashed it across Jae-soo's face. The old horse kicked its 4 legs, and we continued on our way. Jae-soo suffered in silence, not daring to say I was the one who cut him. He only claimed he fell into a ditch while walking at night. He was also afraid Isla Lee would give him trouble. My business is growing bigger and I'm making more and more money. I always keep in mind my original intention. One person's wealth is not true wealth. I want to lead my fellow villagers onto the path of prosperity together. I've set up agricultural product purchasing stations in various villages, entrusting their management to respected individuals in each community. Then, I also recruited young women to work as sales clerks in my supermarket. The money they earned was more than what they could make from farming, which not only supplemented the family income but also improved women's status in the household. My reputation grew higher and higher. Soon, I was featured in the city newspaper and was honored as a March 8th Red Banner holder by the Women's Federation. Jae-soo still comes to my house frequently, but he always does it behind Isla Lee's back. Our whole family gives him the cold shoulder when pushed to the limit. I grab whatever's at hand, axes, shovels, you name it, and beat him up. On my birthday, he got completely wasted, holding snow cream and hand lotion. She cried as soon as she saw me. "Zia Lin, today is your birthday. This is my gift to you. I'm sorry for how I treated you before. You saved eggs for me to eat for my health, but couldn't bear to eat them yourself. Your face is dry and rough, yet you won't even spend money on moisturizer. Your hands crack from the cold in winter, but you still refuse to buy hand cream. I got a bonus. This is just a small token of my appreciation." My eyes burned with unshed tears. Back then, in winter, I used to wash clothes in cold water barehanded and chop firewood in the mountains during heavy snow. My hands were frozen like purple eggplants, oozing pus when exposed to heat, both painful and itchy. Jae-soo has never cared about me. He dresses neatly and stylishly, showing off everywhere. Seeing my eyes redden, Jae-soo pushed his luck and tried to hug me. I kicked him away with one foot. "Get lost. Don't you believe I'll go find Isla Lee and tell him how you've been harassing me? Jae-soo and Isla Lee argue every day, and Isla Lee has also revealed his true lazy and gluttonous nature. However, Isla Lee keeps a tight leash on Jae-soo, afraid that if he lets go, he'll lose this meal ticket. Jae-soo suddenly knelt down before me with a thud and spoke the truth. Zia-lin, I know I was wrong. That time you slapped me, it woke me up instantly. So many things flashed through my mind, like a dream. After Nyo-Nyo died, I was in low spirits and didn't pay attention. Later, I kept dreaming and realized I had been reborn. He cried bitterly, living again. I realized that you were still the best to me. I divorced Isla Lee. Can we get back together? It was like a sudden enlightenment. No wonder that day, after I slapped him, he came to his senses and stared at me wide-eyed. When I left, he even chased after me. If he hadn't chased after me, Nyo-Nyo wouldn't have died. It can only be said that everything is fated. Seeing me standing still, Jae-soo tried to take my hand. I dodged away and spoke frankly. Just give up on this idea. This is not a garbage dump where I take in every piece of trash. You begged me before you died, asking me to let you be together in the next life. Now, I've granted your wish. Jae-soo, the blisters on your feet are from your own path. I suggest you grit your teeth and keep walking. There's no cure for regret in this world. As a man, not only does he lack any sense of responsibility, but he can't even control his own urges. Yet he has the nerve to ask for reconciliation. He's only coming back because he sees I'm making money now and can provide him a better life for the rest of my life. I hope those two stay locked together permanently. I didn't hold back in my scolding, leaving Jae-soo flushed with shame. Seeing my firm refusal to remarry, he hemmed and hawed for a long time before starting to scold me again. Zia-lin, you know you still have feelings for me, otherwise, you wouldn't have planned the divorce just to get back at me. I waved my hand dismissively. Jae-soo, the best revenge in the world is living a better life than you. You mean nothing to me, so revenge is unnecessary. I simply want a divorce, to stay away from scum, and live a peaceful life. Jae-soo's eyes were red-rimmed, clearly showing his deep regret. I find it ironic. He was the one who ruined his own winning hand. He got what he deserved. After I made my stance clear and rejected reconciliation, Jae-soo never came looking for me again. He continued living his life with Isla Lee. They still quarreled. Jae-soo acted out of character. He took on all the household chores, under Isla Lee's pressure. He also handed over his entire salary. Isla Lee does nothing at home. Even her own underwear and socks are washed by Jae-soo. A neighbor teased him. Jace, I've never seen you wash clothes for Zia-lin before, and now you're washing for Isla Lee. Jae-soo smiled bitterly. It's all what I deserve. I let shit blind my eyes. Isla Lee never lifted a finger for household chores, burying herself in writing poetry every day and submitting it to provincial newspapers. She claimed to be the reincarnation of the literary star and swore she would become a great poet someday. The postman comes to his house every day to deliver and collect letters. The cost of stamps amounts to several yuan each month. Over a year passed, and she hadn't published a single poem. Isla Lee's spending was too high, and Jae-soo was furious, but had nowhere to vent. New Year's Eve, a day for family reunion and joyous celebration, yet the Yu household was filled with loud quarrels. Neighbors heard the commotion and gathered to watch. In the Yu family, besides Jae-soo, there were two other men. One is a postman, listening to Jae-soo scolding, saying the postman got involved with Isla Lee, and he found out. The other man, wearing round-framed glasses, looks refined and scholarly, pointing at Isla Lee, crying uncontrollably, gasping for breath. You promised me you'd take good care of Nyo-Nyo. How could you let him die? I suffered in the countryside all for you and our child. How could you remarry, Isla Lee? This is illegal. Do you understand? I arrived too late, and it was the neighbors who told me the whole story. It turned out that Isla Lee had already married someone else. The other party was also a rich peasant, but due to poor class status, was sent to the countryside for re-education. Left alone, Isla Lee, fearing persecution for her poor class status, married into the Yu family, who were poor peasants. While carrying a child in her womb, she was simultaneously involved with both men. However, since marriage registrations were not connected online, no one knew she had married twice. After her original husband was reformed and returned, he found her after some twists and turns. Their biological son died, and his wife remarried. Feeling betrayed, he got into an argument with Isla Lee. Not only was the original husband angry, but Jesu was even more furious. The veins on his forehead bulged, and his eyes were bloodshot. It's as if I can see a vast expanse of green right above my head. Once, he thought his love with Isla Lee was true. Little did he know, true love planted a whole prairie on his head. Bitch, haven't I been good enough to you? For you, I divorced Zia Lin, for the sake of family harmony. I voluntarily handed over my salary and took on household chores. I never did any of this when I was with Zia Lin. I gave you my heart and soul, and you actually cheated on me behind my back. And not just with one, but a whole bunch. Nyo Nyo is hospitalized, and you lied to me, saying he's my son. You've gone too far. Betrayal drove him out of his mind. Jesu grabbed the shovel from the wall and swung it at Isla Lee. A scream, blood pooled on the ground. Isla Lee's arm was severed. Due to limited medical resources, she had to undergo amputation to survive. Jesu was arrested and imprisoned, and also lost his job. After being discharged from the hospital, Isla Lee had nowhere to go. She returned to her hometown to reconcile with her ex-spouse, but was rejected and driven out. After that, no one ever saw her again. 5 years later, I have opened over 20 chain supermarkets across the province, providing employment for nearly 1,000 women. Their wallets grew fuller, their family status improved, they stood taller, and they gained a voice at home. The sisters are deeply grateful to me. I was honored as a National Outstanding Female Entrepreneur and went to the capital to receive the award. I also became a Provincial People's Congress representative, offering suggestions and advice for national development. Despite the honors I've received, I've never forgotten my original intentions. On my way back from the conference, I encountered a shabbily dressed beggar at the train station. Hunched over, he stopped every passenger to beg from them, not letting a single one pass by. He walked up to me, but turned and ran the moment he recognized who I was. I shook my head with a smile and set off on a new journey.